I'm a big believer that majority of calls, if not all calls, end up being won or lost in the beginning, right? In the beginning of the conversation. And the reason why is because you are, unless it's an appointment, unless it's an appointment that you book, it's always going to be an interruption call regardless. Whether it's a PPC, whether it's a lead that comes in from cold calling, whether it's a lead that comes in from what I want to say, direct mail, whatever it is. If you don't have an appointment, it's always going to be an interruption call. So what that means is that when we start the call, we have to be at our best. We cannot relax, right?
Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm Max Jimenez, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, I have a treat for you. I'm going to take you inside of my weekly The Closers Lab Sales Hour training that I hold live every single Tuesday at 6 p.m. Arizona time. Now, what happens in that training? Well, we have multiple investors all across the country that come and join me, and we talk about sales. We talk about acquisitions. We talk about every scenario possible that you can think of when it comes to conversion, when it comes to talking to sellers, right? Which is very important. You know, I think that's one of the biggest problems and one of the biggest struggles that I see a lot of the newer people that get into, the wholesaling business is that they struggle to talk to sellers. So in this video, you're going to get a sneak peek into what we do and the training, how it goes, the Q&A session. And by the way, in the description of the video, I actually have the link so you're able to register for these calls. They're 100% free to you. So if you want to join me every single Tuesday on the sales hour, go ahead and there's a link in the description of the video so you can register. And guess what? As soon as you register, you're going to have access to all 11 or 12 recordings that we have compiled for this year. By the way, if you find value in this video, please subscribe to my channel. Make sure you like the video and share this with one person. Now let's get into the video. I'll see you on the other side.
I love it. What's going on, everyone? Happy Tuesday.
How's it going, Max?
Going good, man. Can't complain. A little low on here. Let me see what's going on. Volume. All right. Good, Corey, man. How's it going for you today?
Oh, not too bad.
Yeah.
I got a appointment with the seller at 6:30, so thought I'd hop on.
Is this a follow-up or what is this? What type of call is it?
It's a kind of a follow-up, but more of a intro.
Okay.
It's a pre-foreclosure. Last two times I've talked to her, she's been sick. And so just talked to her an hour ago, and she said, call me back at 6:30. And she's like, I just need to sell it. Foreclosure's coming, the auction's coming in a couple weeks. I just need to do something with it. So
let's go. All right. Man, I'd love to hear the results of that.
So on this one, I looked it up, and she just bought it back in 21, maybe 22. Really nice house, low interest rate. And it doesn't look like anything's wrong with it, but I'm going to do the whole intro to see what the house is about.
Yeah, of course. That's one thing. No matter what lead source or whatever situation is going on, you want to put everybody through the process, right? Don't deviate from it, because the process is always going to determine, how motivated they are, right? I think the problem is that a lot of times we do get caught up, and it happens to me too. I hear a good, lead with a good situation, and sometimes it's like it's. And I'm not saying you're doing this. I'm just in general speaking here that you do get excited about it, right? Like, man, this sounds like some potential. And so, but still the process, it should always happen, right? So yeah, brother, that's good. I'm anything I can help you with that you think you need to overcome, or anything that you think that,
No, I've been reading that Sandler script that Manuel gave us a couple weeks ago. And so
which one?
What was it? No, I can't even. I'm not sure which one it was, but I kind of read through it. And so
the closer, like my closer script, or which one?
No, it was the Sandler script. Let's see, which one was it?
Oh, okay. I know he shared a couple of things. I can't remember. Be careful with it. Just make sure that you are tailored. Like, this is why it's important to understand, like, you're gonna read, yeah, it's great information, but now you got to make it work with your niche,
Right.
right? And
Well, there's
so
a,
the question, go ahead.
I was just gonna say there was a lot of things I learned in there that I haven't been doing
Got it.
as far
Okay.
as the way to talk to people, and so I've been using that and it's been helping out quite a bit. So
Cool, bro. Have you bought the closer script or yet or not?
no, I haven't.
Okay. Got it. Whenever you get a chance and you're financially able, get it because it's a done for you already. Like, the people that have it, I mean, because
Yeah.
it is based around the same principles. But it's a done for you already. So I highly recommend it. But for sure, keep reading that because it's helpful and it's got some, I mean, a lot of it's similar. The only difference is it's already it's already done for you in a way, right?
Right.
So, and I'm going to talk about that today. So you might be you got it at 6:30. So yeah, because I'm going to jump into a little bit about mastering the start of the call today. So I'm going to do a little bit of
Okay.
a presentation today. I'm gonna go a little bit different. So I'm going to start here soon. So
Yeah.
cool, man. Well, let us know how it goes. If you need help, don't hesitate to reach out.
Okay. Yeah, I will. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Most of the ones I've done have all been cash, but I've been
Mm-hmm.
learning how to do creative financing and some novations and stuff. So I think there's a
Cool.
lot of different possibilities on this one. So
I love it, bro. I love it. So awesome. Hey, Vandy, what's going on? Charlie, what's
Hey,
up?
Max. Thanks for that VA help, Max. Really,
Yeah, of
she
course.
was so happy. Like, she was like, it's very direct, no first questions and all, and you just get a nice lead. So I said, yeah.
I love it. So Vandy had a call with me last week. Vandy and Charlie are going to do the one-on-one with me, but Vandy's already. We met Saturday, right, Vandy? I think it was. We met Saturday, and
Saturday.
you guys heard her on here. She had been struggling. Her VA had been struggling to generate leads and have good conversation. Well, I'll let you talk about it right now, Vandy. But we met Saturday and we did some tweaks. I looked at her stuff and we did some tweaks. How's it going this week? And what's the feedback been for you?
So earlier, she was actually pushing people to say, yes, they want to sell. We heard on 2, 3 calls that she was like, hey, if not now, maybe in a year, do you want to sell? And the person was like, yeah, if it was like, if you're saying, then I'll say yes.
Just
That was.
yeah, she was actually convincing them, right? Anyways, go ahead.
And today, when she was like, yesterday, I spent 2 hours with her after I came back from office. I was like, I explained her, I went her after every 5 lines, I repeated the stuff. So this 5 lines, this is second question, this is third question, and this is fourth question. Those kind of. So every question will have 3 or 2 possibilities, and you just have to reply that and that and that. Earlier,
Mm-hmm.
she was like, I don't know, but okay, let's try. The good part was she was adapted. Like when I tried to tell her, okay, let's have a role play, and she was using. She was not uh, nervous too. That was a good part. I'm like, okay, at least she can
Mm-hmm.
adapt to it.
Yeah,
And
she was adapting
today,
to it. That's good. Good.
yeah, and today when I heard her 2 calls, 2 leads, she used step by step everything. I heard the conversations.
Yes.
And then I asked her, she was like, it was very good, it was very direct and all. Then I asked her, when was the last time you had leads who said they want to sell right now? She couldn't even remember. So,
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, we worked a lot. We went through a lot and we broke down your system and then we
yeah,
set the boundaries, right? We set the 3 boundaries and then we gave her the VA script and I'm glad that you're already getting results, which is great because you weren't even getting like 2 leads per week. So then that was our goal.
not
Remember, we
one
set the goal for 2 weeks per 2 leads per day, excuse me. And
per day.
I mean, it didn't even take it. It took, I mean, it was just those quick
One
changes,
day,
we set one day, right?
first day,
We
first day,
changed the
yeah.
boundaries. Yeah, we created those boundaries. We put bumpers. We put bumpers on the VA.
Oh,
And
really?
then, obviously, give her the trainer videos of exactly what to say. She didn't have to think about it. And then she reads the script and now you're getting results. So, yep.
Yeah.
I'm excited
Yeah.
for not, we're just getting started. That's just a little bit about what we're going to be diving into, but I know we got another meeting on Saturday, but I want you to share just a little bit about it because I think it's great to talk about, success as well, not just challenges too. So,
The best part of, like, as I told you, I got attracted based on the script. In fact, frankly, Manuel was talking a lot when we were discussing somewhere June, July, August, but that time I had very backache and all. I couldn't focus on those things, and I actually ignored. But when I got a hurdle, hey, if one person is telling me not to say something, then tell me what to say. I am coming from a different background. I don't know. I have
yeah,
already have few properties on my bucket. I'm not gonna listen to you crap or something. I just want direct thing. I want to do the business, but I want to know what exactly to be said.
yep,
That's what I
exactly.
found in your scripts, and it was easy. Like there is
Cool.
no guessing game there. No,
Yeah.
that's the best
You
part.
Yeah, you just follow it. It works, right? Whatever the outcome is, right? It works. And now you have a scorecard for the VA too. I mean, you have everything,
I
so
showed up.
there should be no excuses. Now you got something to measure against, like whether you need to let her go or not, right? At first, you didn't
Yeah.
know because you didn't have that the way to measure her, but now you have something to measure, and I think she's gonna do great. If she's already generating two leads. I mean, already day one, she's got you two leads, like. Let's go. I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah. And I told her, 30 and 31st, I'll give you 2 days to actually try the script. There is no, uh, I'm not watching you, no scorecard, but I'll start the scorecard from 1st of February. At least give her 2 days to settle down and
To
not to
set it
put
all
her
up.
on the spot. Yeah.
Good. Good.
She knows how
That
to
way
do
she can build that habit. So thank you
it.
very much for sharing that. So
Yeah.
Ivan, what's going on? Jennifer, Jason, what's up? Thank you for joining us. Derek, what's up, Derek?
I got a question for what's her name, Vandy?
Yeah.
Are you making calls?
My VA is making calls.
Are you doing the follow-up calls? Do you do that? The sales calls?
Yeah.
I just want to say this. Don't take this the wrong way, but um, that's inspiring because you got a thick accent and you're not afraid to get on the phone and make those calls. So kudos to you. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
we're
you.
gonna make her a closer. We're gonna make Vandy a closer. She's gonna be a machine, bro. In about 2 weeks
I,
here, she's gonna be like, I just closed 2 of my deals. She's working directly with
Max,
me. So go ahead.
Max, I am not worried about the deals, but I want to say that I am a good closer. That's what I am not
Oh,
gonna
let's go.
measure based on that, but
I know. I can see it. I can see it. All you need is the little like tweak here, tweak there, and it's like, let's go.
straighten up line like
you know, it's what I was gonna say that um it's one of those things, right? We all struggle for two reasons, right? The lack of information and then the lack of knowing how to use that information. And what tends to happen is that when you get somebody that can like make it click and make it, like get an outside view and it just opens up your eyes, right? To where like, man, dang, I can't, it was right in front of me, but I couldn't see it. And you just take off, right? A lot of times we have it in us. A lot of times we, but sometimes it just takes someone to come in and really help and understand. I mean, Derek, I met with you on Saturday as well. I mean, it was a great call because we got to see the inside of what was going on, and it was eye opening. So
Yep, definitely for sure. And I called that guy that call we listened to of mine. I called him yesterday. I'm going to go walk the property on Friday, and I actually got him to come. Remember, he was saying like,
hmm
"I'll just go over there with the tenant." So I actually got him to come out there, And so my uncle here in Oklahoma, my uncle, he's a famous guy. So once he heard my last name, he asked me, was I kin to my uncle? And I said, yeah. He was like, okay, now, so you got an advantage now because I know of your uncle. And he's a good guy with this and that and the other. So
Instant report. Let's go.
yeah, so I'm meeting him out there at 2 o'clock on Friday to go out there and walk the property and see how it go.
I love it. I love it. Let's go.
Oklahoma, huh?
I got a
Yeah,
What part?
I'm in Tulsa.
I don't know how far that is from Dallas, but
About 4 hours, 4.5 hours.
yeah, maybe one day we'll connect.
Let's do it.
Yeah, what's up, Jason? Welcome to the Sales Hour, man. I think your first time here.
Yeah, it's my first time here, man, and I appreciate it. I actually just finished hanging up the phone. Well, actually, my system shut me off. I got a timer on it, so
Okay, I love it. He said, "Long time listener, first time caller."
yeah.
I love it. Yeah, Randy, what's going on, brother? Welcome to the Closers Lab.
Yeah, this is first time being here.
Cool, man.
Awesome.
Cool. What's up, JJ?
I made sure I sent them both links so they could get their butts in here.
Let's go. I love it. They came on a good day too because I'm going to do a presentation, Manuel. So let's go. I love it.
Yeah, Randy started ramping up heavy on phone calls, so we're
Let's
really
go.
proud of this guy, man, because he struggled before and he was having some mindset issues and he had some life issues, and now he's like fired up and cranking out them phone calls, bro. So I said,
I
you need
love
to
it,
get in
man.
the sales hour. Here's the link.
Yeah. And whenever you come in here, man, don't hesitate to ask questions. It doesn't matter. Like, I always say this, there's no stupid questions. There's only stupid people because they didn't ask the question. Right? So don't be afraid to ask any questions at all. So JJ, what up, man? Oh, go ahead, Jason.
What's up, Max? What's up,
Can we turn off Manuel's camera? So we have to look at that 49ers crap.
Oh man, I love to man. Turn off your camera. That's true. No, I'm just kidding. Cool. JJ, what have you been up to, bro?
Trying to close some deals and get them to the finish line. Oh, sorry. Could you hear me?
I can hear you now. I think we were hearing your brain there for a little bit.
Oh yeah. I was just saying, just trying to work, man, and get some deals to the finish line. And contracts are great, but we all know you got to still get them to the finish line. So just hoping February can be a great month for all the month stuff we did in January, man.
I have it on my agenda to give you a call because there's been some very drastic large changes. So I'm gonna give you a call probably either tomorrow or Thursday. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I have a question while I have your ear though.
Go ahead.
How do you get what's your method of getting your max your max offer for land? Because I've been getting some land deals, man, and I just been putting them on hold to underwrite them, dude, and I just literally been stuck. Yeah, just stuck.
Got it.
With them.
So a few of the guys that I know that do land that are actually doing, good land that I reach out to, like Anthony Papas, and there's a few other guys. What they've told me was that depends on where the land is, and has it been, is it ready to be built? Are they utilities? So you go, I think the lowest that what they typically would do is anywhere between 5 to 10% based off the average ARV for raw land. Like if there's nothing there, right? Like no utilities or anything like that. And so based on what's around the area, right? What things are selling for, they've gone as low as that just because you don't know how much it's going to take, to get that land up to, up to code to try to build it and get all the utilities there. And then if let's say it is within a neighborhood or it is within, a community, then obviously you can offer a little bit more, almost up to 20% off an average ARV. Yeah, so that's kind of the what we've been using as far as the to gauge. Land is tricky though, man, for sure. Because you have to know what it's used for. But that's kind of an average that we do, just based on if it's like straight agriculture, then you go your lowest. You have to look at those those things as far as what the land is used for, because you can overpay for land pretty fast. You have to be careful.
So let me say this. So I'll just be a little more specific. So I locked up a agreement, right, for 45K in OKC.
I know that we can't wholesale on LKC, but you know, I just took a chance to see what happens.
Um,
Now, now let me say
it
this.
depends. It depends what title company. You definitely they do have the restriction, right, with being licensed.
Hmm.
But it depends because I've had title companies where like they do the deal regardless. So it's weird. It's up to the title company. Like no one's really checking on it, and Derek can attest to this because Derek's there. But Derek's licensed, I think, right, Derek?
Yeah, but just to clarify the regulations in Oklahoma, you can wholesale all you want in Oklahoma. The regulation has to do with publicly marketing equitable interest in the contract. Right. So it's the way that you market. So say for instance, if I had a deal and I shot that deal out through text message, through email to everybody in this group, that's fine. But if once I try to put it on the MLS, or if I post it in Craigslist, a public Facebook group, then that's when it becomes publicly marketed, and that's what they have an issue with.
So let me ask you this question, Max. When it comes to land, let's say you got a piece of land that's zoned for one house, right? But you can
Mm-hmm.
zone it and it's big enough to split it into two. Would the offer be based on the potential to split it into two or just the one?
Always buy for what the potential is, not futures, right? That's how I always look at a deal. Now, if it breaks the deal where it's too low, you could take the risk and definitely do that because you never know what your end buyer is going to do to it unless you absolutely know that you have an end buyer that's going to buy it and do that with the land. So you have to be careful when you look at any deal, actually, right? But you can definitely look at it that way. But I would try to buy for what it is and how it sits, just because you don't know what's going to happen on the exit side. You don't ever want to put yourself in a position now trying to sell a deal and trying to convince someone, no, but you can split it and you can put two properties, like you know what I'm saying? So you have to be careful with that. You don't ever want to be in that position. You always and that's the same thing that happens, like, even when I get deals and I see like, well, this can be a short-term rental for this XXXYC, like I get it, but we're now talking about futures here, right? We're talking about potentials, and we don't want to buy potentials. We want to buy, we want to make sure that we're secure on our investment. And once we're secure on the investment of how it stands, then we can decide if we do other things to it. But if it's going to break the deal because it's too low, then yeah, I would say take the risk. But if you can get it for what it is, always go for that. I hope that helped.
No, that is. Thanks. Yeah, my thing was on mute. Thanks.
No, you're good. You're good, man. So,
Max, how do you find the commercial deals? I was trying to find on that place, I couldn't find.
I'm sorry, you were trying to find it where? Batch leads?
Commercial deals, yeah.
Um,
Commercial means not multifamily. I'm talking
yeah. I
about
mean, you can. There's some couple of websites. Because I don't know too much about commercial. I'm not going to sit here and say that. I mean, you can go to
okay.
like LoopNet, but a lot of those are listed. LoopNet.com.
No,
That's a.
I don't want to see what's on the market. I want to see like we do the off market for houses.
I
I
will
want to
have
do
to.
off market for commercial.
Yeah, I got a guy here. His name is Trent, and he does a lot of commercial. Let me ask him where he gets like his stuff. I know a lot of it is through JV and through like brokers, but because I don't know if they have somewhere. Oh, you know what? I think you should be. There is a what was it called? I forgot the name. Core Logic or List Source, I think it's called. You might be able to pull a list from there. List Source. That's
List
owned by Core.
stores.
Yeah, List
Oh,
Source, and
okay.
it's owned by Core. It's owned by Core Logic, which is they have a lot of data. But besides that, I don't know. Um, PropStream maybe, but I don't know how accurate that data is, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'll ask Trent, and then I'll get you an answer on that because I'm not 100% sure because I don't do commercial or in commercial. So yeah. What
Okay.
up, Josh? Welcome to the Sales Hours, bro. Appreciate you. Tanya, how are you? Welcome, Tanya and Josh. First time being on here.
Hi. Yes, I don't know what I mean, I guess I got an alert on my email and I was like, I don't remember, but let's go.
What market are you in, Tanya?
Texas.
Okay, got it. Cool. What part of Texas?
Um, I'll see, it was Manuel that told me about this.
Mm.
San Antonio, DFW, but I also do a lot in Florida as well. So
Okay,
I'm kind of
nice.
all over the place.
Yeah. So San Antonio is one of our markets, and then Dallas Fort Worth. You know Uncle Charles and Mike and all of them out there.
Hmm. I know who they
Yeah.
are.
Never met them in person.
I met them in person, but like it was at the Wholesaling Live 2.0
Oh,
in
okay. Yep.
September.
Yeah. Yeah. I was at
Yeah.
the first one. I actually helped on the first one, and I got invited to go to the second one, but I just couldn't make it. But me and Uncle Charles, we're about to do something together. Putting something together in the background. So yeah, bro, it's gonna be good, Charlie. Yeah. So we're excited about that. Yeah, Uncle Charles and I, we've known each other for a while, and he's a good dude. But yeah, but thank you for being on. Appreciate you. Hopefully you come on every Tuesday.
Yes. Thank you.
What's your main like what do you do? Are you wholesaling, flipping? What do you do?
I got with a group and I'm doing disposition.
Okay. Okay, perfect. That works. I love it.
But yes, I was doing wholesaling. I mean, I don't want to not do it, Like I don't want to not know or not stay informed, like, because you never know, things can change.
Yeah, of course. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're on today. It's this basically what we do here is we talk about a lot of different subjects you've heard already since you got on, but mostly, obviously calls and sales and that's why it's called the sales hour. But a lot of times we'll get into other subject. But today's really good because I'm going to get into a presentation for everyone. And some of you have probably already seen this, which is okay. I think it's always great to get a refresher. And one of the biggest things I think what happens in when we start making calls, right, is I'm a big believer that majority of calls, if not all calls, end up being won or lost in the beginning, right? In the beginning of the conversation. And the reason why is because you are unless it's an appointment, unless it's an appointment that you book, it's always going to be an interruption call regardless. Whether it's a PPC, whether it's a lead that comes in from cold calling, whether it's a lead that comes in from what I want to say, direct mail, whatever it is. If you don't have an appointment, it's always going to be an interruption call. So what that means is that when we start the call, we have to be at our best. We cannot relax, right? We have to be at our best. We can get to a point where we build enough rapport, and we get to a point where we build enough trust where we can potentially, start to, put aside a little bit of that of the guard. But in the beginning of the conversation, you need to be able to master your call, because how you start your call is potentially how your call is going to go the rest of the way. So what I'm saying is that we don't want our call to be uphill, right? We don't want to start. We want to be like at the peak at our start, so we can go downhill in our conversation, right? And so I'm going to walk you through a few things that shows you basically what you need to be doing. Some of you, like I said, have seen this, and a lot of you haven't. So I'm going to get into the presentation, and this comes out of one of the presentations that I have called "Why Have a Sales System? Why It's Important to Have a Sales System and a Process." And I believe that every single one of you should have some type of process, right? Because I can tell you this, especially if you're calling homeowners and you're calling sellers, if you don't have a process or a sales system of your own, what's going to happen is you're going to default to whatever the seller system puts you through. That makes sense? So what that means is that if you guys don't believe me that these sellers have their own process, their own system, well, let me remind you that they do, and they put you through it every single time. Whether it's wrong, whether it's right, it doesn't matter. Like, they're putting you through a process, right? They're asking you, well, what's your offer? Tell me what you do for me. They're putting you through that system. So you have to have something that you're able to overcome that, not by like being pushy or being combative, but more of like understanding, like, look, Mr. Seller, I can't give you that information without XYZ. I'm not going to do that until you do this. Getting little small commitments, right? And we all go through this. We know this, right? As soon as you jump on the phone, sellers want to know that information ASAP. Like they don't want to be on the phone for such a long time. So I'm going to go through this presentation just to show you how you can start, start mastering your, the starts of your call. It's very important that you understand that the better you get at mastering the beginning of your phone call, the better you're going to get to the rest of the call. And look, some of us are more experienced than others. We can have a bad start and overcome that. A lot of us can't, right? And let's be honest with us. If you can't, you like, let's get better, right? That's the first thing on how do we get better, is to understand where we make the mistakes and where we need help on. And I believe, honestly, it's always in the beginning of the phone call. Is there's other sections, but I think the biggest things, like I said, majority of phone calls are lost or won in the beginning of the conversation. Okay. So, and this is going to be a little different than a lot of people talk about out there, because a lot of people that are out there talking about how to talk to sellers, what they emphasize on is two things: condition and price right away. Right. And we all understand that when we start in condition and price, it's all about condition and price, right? It turns into more of a battle of, my property's the best, how much can you pay for it? Well, I don't know what I can pay for, right? So I want to get away from that type of logical conversation to more of, let me first discover if you're actually someone that's worth my time. This is the way that you guys got to think. It's a mind shift, right? It's called equal business stature, right? We have to start thinking like this, so that way, when you are talking to sellers, you're automatically putting them in a position where it's like, look, no, this is not just your show. This is an equal business stature where you potentially have something you want. I get it, but potentially it may not work for me, and what I have may not work for you. Eric, what's going on, brother? Thank you for joining us. So I'm gonna get into this really quick. Let me go ahead and show here my where's it at? Okay, here it is. Let me know if you guys can see that. And as well, if you have a question, don't hesitate to stop me, because I don't just want to ramble. I want to answer questions. I want to make sure that you are understanding what I'm actually what I got, what I'm talking about, because look, not everybody has seen this, and we all need help, right? We all need to make sure we understand this. So I want to make sure that if you do have questions, make sure that you raise your hand. There's a little emoji, or you can just go off mute. Okay. So let's start off with this. We all get leads, whether we get them through cold calling, whether we get them through PPC, whether we get them through pay per lead, whatever, right? Now, one of the mistakes that you can't make, that you got to stop doing, is there's no assumption allowed when you are calling these leads. So what I mean by that is that when the lead comes in, okay, there's going to be some notes in the database, with the lead, excuse me, inside your CRM, if you do have a CRM, or potentially a spreadsheet, however you're managing your leads. There's going to be notes. Don't get caught up reading the notes. You're going to make an assumption decision based on the notes, and as you can see, the first three letters that are capitalized in the word assumption, that's what's going to happen. You're going to make yourself that, right? You're going to make yourself out of that. So don't read the notes. No assumption allowed. And the reason why I say this is because, let's say that you have a cold caller that generates the leads for you, right? The cold caller is not going to be able to qualify the leads like you are. They don't know. They're not that good. So if you look at the notes and you make an assumption decision in your mind based on what the notes say, you just said that your VA that's cold calling for these leads they're right. You want to give yourself an opportunity to work these leads, right? Even if you're cold calling them yourself, you could still, you're going to put people on a follow-up. So you want to make sure that when you go back to your notes, that you don't get caught up reading on those too much. I can tell you this, even in the PPC leads that we get, there's going to be some notes. And so we look at them briefly, but we don't get caught up into them. We don't want to get caught up looking at the notes, because I don't want to get into this game where it's like, oh man, this lead says that, they want to sell in 6 months. They want this much. I want to give ourselves an opportunity to make sure that we are, that we are, what is it called? Giving ourselves an opportunity to close that deal, if that makes sense. Now, and I'm going to use some words here that a lot of you are not going to be familiarized with, but some of you are, because you have the script, you have the Closers Lab script. So I'm going to explain to you what this is. When you're in the introduction, what you need to be doing, the first thing that you need to do to be able to master the start of your call is you need to instill confidence in your prospect. Some of you guys are probably gonna say, like, what the heck does that even mean, right? It's anytime that you call someone, if your message is not clear or concise and and I know concise and direct can mean the same thing, clear, concise, direct, and there's a breakdown in your pitch, in your voice, in your voice inflection, what I can tell you is the prospect is gonna get spooked and they're gonna be like, who is this person calling me? They don't even know what they're talking about. I can hear that there is no confidence in your voice. And I used to make this joke and people laugh at it, like, just like dogs smell fear. You guys know that, right? Dogs smell fear. Well, people smell when you're not confident, or they sense over the phone when you have no confidence of why you're calling. So guess what? It's your job to instill confidence in them. Remember, it's an interruption call unless you booked an appointment. So when you're in the introduction and you're asking your questions, and I'm going to give you a couple of things right now that you can ask that simplify, the call, so you don't get caught up getting too much into the price and condition, because that's what most people teach you, like getting into price and condition pretty fast, right? We want to stay away from that for the most part. It's important. I'm not saying it's not important, but we don't want to be in that realm yet. First, we're trying to find out if this is a prospect or a suspect. Write that down for those of you guys that are new. We're trying to find out if this is a prospect or a suspect before any negotiations, before talking about the property. And the reason why is because, I don't know about you, but I take my time serious and valuable. So I don't want to be talking about negotiations, and I don't want to be talking about property condition if I know you're not a prospect for my solution. And most of us get caught up, trying to convince people to do business with us. And we don't want to be doing that. We want to qualify these people, right? We want to make sure that we're qualifying them, to talk to us, first of all, right? So again, when we're calling them, got to instill confidence in the prospect that you know why you're calling. You're 100% sure it's them. And here's a few tips, right? What does that look like? What does that look like, for example, when you are when you are calling these people, right? So, for example, instead of calling someone and saying, "Hey, I'm just trying to reach, I'm looking for, or may I speak with," like, get rid of that. Get rid of those language, because that's an automatic flag for them to know that you don't know who you're calling for, right? So if you guys have seen my live calls and you've got the scripts, the closer scripts, or even the cold call script, I don't ever ask if XYZ person is there. I don't ever ask if Derek's there. I'm just going to assume that the information I have, and I have Derek's number in front of me, and I have Derek's property address in front of me. I'm going to say, hello, Derek. I'm going to say it with confidence. I'm going to be very, very direct. As soon as it says yes, I'm going to say, hey, Derek, it's Max. I'm calling you because you had submitted your information on our website about selling that property at 123 Main Street. Derek, I'm calling you because you had spoken to one of my team members about selling your property on 123 Main Street. Just want to see if you're still considering selling that property. All right, whatever pitch, whatever intro you want to use. If you're doing, if you're if you're calling back, for people that are, for your VA that's cold calling for you, then say team. If you have inbound leads, then say, PPC, or say they filled out my website. I'm not, whatever it is that you're generating. But you got to instill confidence in them to want them to talk to you, right? You can't be like, I'm trying to reach, I'm just calling for, or I'm just looking for Derek. Derek, can you help me out? Are you Derek? Click. We want to grab their attention, because listen, I mean, most of you guys do this. I mean, you guys do this every single day, and you know that, you only have a few seconds, right? You don't have minutes. You got a few seconds to grab the attention, create a pattern interrupt. And the pattern interrupt is what? Is saying, hello, Justin? Because think about this, right? Justin, I'm going to have you on mute really quick.
Mute or unmute?
Have you ever... Unmute.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking a little fast.
No,
so, Justin, have you ever been somewhere and you heard your name, like you heard the name Justin?
Yes.
Somewhere, like someone yelled? And what happened when you heard the name Justin?
Like turned around, tried to look to see where it was coming from.
Correct, right?
Yeah.
Why? Why'd you do that?
To see if I knew who was doing it, calling me.
Did you think you owe that guy? Did you think you owe the money or something? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, to see who
right?
it was.
You're like,
basically,
right, exactly. It's a pattern interrupt, right? They call So when I call, and every single my call, I'm gonna say, hello, Justin. And right away, I want to pattern interrupt him and make him think like, who the heck is this? Now, there are some savvy people that will say, no, Justin here. Like if you call me and you say, hey, Max, I'm like, who's this? I'm not going to say, I'm pretty sure some of you guys will, but don't think that everybody has that capacity to do that. I can tell you, I've heard my name just like you have, Justin. Hey, Max. And I turn around and I'm like, who's calling me? Right? It's a pattern interrupt because they're calling our name. And what that does, it grabs our attention. And it's the same thing that we're doing here when we're calling them. We need to instill the confidence that we know who they are. And then as soon as they say, yeah, who is this? There shouldn't be any hesitation in your 30-second pitch, right? Which is, hey, Justin, it's Max. I'm calling you because you spoke to one of my team members about selling that property over at 123 Main Street. You still consider selling that property?
Well, yes,
And
yes.
right, perfect. Well, I got the information, and now we're going to go into what we need to do in order to qualify your property for an offer. I automatically instill confidence. I automatically tell you right away that we're not going to talk about anything. I need to ask you a few questions in order to qualify your property for an offer, right? Go ahead, Andrew.
This is for a follow-up call, right?
Yeah, so it could be for a follow. Yeah, it's for a follow-up. So the beginning, the actual like when you ask for the or when you say hello, Andrew, that works for anything. That works for a cold call and follow-up call, both, right? So in this case, for a cold call, the way I would do it is I would say, hello, Andrew. Let's role play this with me real quick, Andrew.
Oh, wait, I got you.
Hey, Andrew. No, you're good. Hello, Andrew.
Who's this?
Is this Andrew?
Oh, wait. Yeah.
Hey, Andrew. Hey, Andrew, it's Max. I don't know if you can help me. I've actually was trying to reach the owner of the property over at 123 Main Street. You probably don't own that property.
No, that's my property.
It is. Okay, perfect. Well, I appreciate you for confirming that. I'm actually calling you because we are actually considering buying a few more properties in that neighborhood. Don't know if you would consider selling that one on 123 Main Street.
Yeah, I've considered it.
You have?
Yeah.
All right. Tell me more about that. What's going on?
So 2 months back. Oh wait. I don't know. You want to keep going? Or?
Oh. No. You're good. You're good. I was just showing you that the same process and the same thought process works. You're basically saying different things. That's it. But you heard very straightforward, very clear in my delivery. I'm not, I'm looking for that. I'm looking to instill confidence in you as far as like to have a conversation. So there are 3 levels of trust, remember, in every call. So number 1, I want to gain enough trust, not for you to sell me my property. I'm not looking for you to sell me your property in the first 5 minutes. Let's be realistic. That never happens. What I'm looking for is in the first 5 minutes, I'm looking for a level of trust for you and I to have a conversation, right? Second level of trust is now that I built trust for you to have a conversation with me. What I'm looking for, the second level of trust, is I'm looking for a discovery phase. I'm looking to see if we're a good fit for each other. And then the third level of trust is when we get into the property and the negotiations. That's the third level of trust, right? But in the beginning, I'm looking for that first level of trust to have a conversation. I'm not even trying to buy your house in the first level of trust, right? I may make some references to potentially the property and what's been going on in your world that you want to sell in the second level of trust. But if I got you into the third level, then basically now it's on, right? Now we're going to go full out. But yeah, so in the beginning, all I'm looking for is to instill confidence in you so you can trust me to have a conversation with me. That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I get what you're saying now.
Yeah, bro. Cool. All right, let's keep it going. There's no other questions. Okay, so the other thing too is that there is a big problem that I see a lot of times with people who are making calls, right? People that are actually out that are doing this. When I came up with this thing called the mini transition, and the reason why I did this is so right now you guys just heard the introduction, the hello, and then the elevator pitch. Now we're gonna transition, okay? And what I like to do is I don't like to just bombard the seller and get into the conversation like hit them in the head, right, with the next thing. So earlier, I'm going to go back to the follow-up call because this is where it hits home just a little bit more. Justin and I were we were role playing, and I told him why I was calling. I said, hey, I received your information, or you spoke to one of my team members, got the information, just want to see if you're considering selling that property. As soon as he says yes, as soon as the seller says yes to me, yes, actually, I am still considering. Perfect. Here's what I want to do. This is what I call my mini transition. This is, I don't just run through the questions. I always say, look, and I'm going to keep using Justin's name now. I'm not picking on him. Hey, Justin, you know what? I appreciate you for confirming that. Obviously, the information for me doesn't always tell me the whole story of what's going on. I love to follow through with some questions to see if I can qualify your property for an offer. It is what is it called? What's the word I'm looking for? I have it in my tongue. A privilege. That's what I want to say. It is a privilege for you to get an offer from me, right? You know what? The notes don't always tell the whole story that I receive. I want to follow through and ask you a few questions so I can see if I can qualify the property for an offer. And the reason I like to do that, I want to make sure I get permission from you. This is what I call a mini transition. I'm going to transition here to get to make sure that you're on the same level. And I'm going to tell you guys right now why. It's very important to understand this, right? So the reason why I want to do that is two things. There's two reasons here. Number one is I'm giving you what you're already thinking. I'm giving the seller what they're already thinking, which is give them an offer, right? Typically, that's what sellers want. But I can't give you the offer without actually first asking you a few questions. Because if I can't ask you a few questions, I can't qualify the property for an offer. And then the second thing is that I'm making sure that you understand that by asking, is that fair, right? So the way that looks, here it is, right? I have a few notes here, but the notes don't always tell the whole story. I'm going to ask you a few questions to fill in the gap to see if we can qualify the property for an offer. Is that fair, Justin? All right. So now we are transitioning. Now I move from the intro. I mastered my intro, my 30-second elevator pitch or 11-second, whatever you want to call it. And now I just made a mini transition agreement because now we're gonna get to the point where everybody wants to be. But you can see what happens. A lot of people move to this point where they're asking questions way too fast. Now, what am I really looking for here? What am I really looking for here? Okay. I kind of went too fast here because I want to get into this. What am I looking for here? There's a few things that I'm looking for here. Okay. If you guys see on the left-hand side, go ahead.
It sounds like you're just looking to see if it's even going to be, if this is even somebody you can talk to.
Exactly. I want to know if Jason is a prospect that is worth investing time in. Guys, this is long because I'm doing a presentation, but I can do this in less than 3 minutes in the first 3 to 5 minutes of the call, right? Or even shorter in some cases. But look how powerful this is because we're putting the seller through a process. And you're absolutely right, Jason. And I'm going to give you the 3 things that you need to look for here, and we'll be done with this presentation because I just want to do. I want to show you guys this. So we did the mini transition, which means if I get a yes back here, okay, if I get a yes, then I'm going to go now and I'm going to ask questions. I'm not asking like very high motivation questions or property questions. I'm more asking questions like, hey, tell me about, can you confirm with me the bedroom and bathroom of the property? A quick icebreaker question. Okay. Is it a rental property or is it one of your your primary residence? Oh, it's a rental property. Okay. Is it currently occupied, currently vacant, whatever the case may be? If it's a primary residence, all I say is, okay, got it. So you're currently staying in the property. So now we're starting to build a conversation here, right? We're starting to get a conversation going. Now there's going to be some times where you're going to have prospects that that say no here. Like, nah, I just want you to tell me what your offer, and I'm not really in the mood to ask questions. Well, guess what, buddy? You're going in the wishy-washy bucket. Right? For me, that's wishy-washy words. That's being flaky, right? That's being a flake. Like, no, I don't think I want to ask questions. Well, hold up here. Like, okay, you just want an offer? I mean, you just want an offer? How can I give you an offer on something that I don't even know what I'm getting into? How does that work in your world? Tell me, Mr. Seller. I mean, if you're looking for value for your property, you can go on Zillow, Realtor.com. They would be more than happy to give you an offer. We're in the business of buying properties. And if you want me to qualify your property for an offer, absolutely, I can do that by asking you a few questions. And so I'll be like, no, you know what? Well, not really. Actually, I wasn't in a hurry to sell. Maybe I would sell. I think so. We'll see. Well, guess what? I am going to end the sale here pretty fast. I'm going to say, you know what? This sounds like, you're probably not ready to sell. You're potentially just looking for someone just to give you a number, but you're not ready to make a decision. If you have time, that's great. This is what I'm hearing. I can definitely try to see what we could come up with on our end, but I first need to know what I'm getting into. And the way I do that is by asking questions, not by being, wishy-washy or whatever the case may be. So I'm disqualifying. I'm putting them. So I got 2 funnels here already, right? Either going to continue to qualify them or I'm going to disqualify them ASAP. The last thing, to Jason's point, what we're doing here is we're actually exactly what he said. If you look at that box up top, I am looking for these three things here, these 3 items that you see here: engagement, cooperation, and reciprocation in the conversation. Okay. So what I'm looking for in the beginning, I'm not looking for, I'm not looking to buy your house in the first 5 minutes. I'm not looking to talk about money. I'm not looking to talk about property condition. What I'm looking for is to see if I have a prospect, like Jason said, that's worth me actually going to, because listen, everyone on this call, seriously, like, you guys may think like, potentially, well, I've seen where a lot of these other guys, they make offers. Yes, because they have a ton of leads. The one thing that they don't talk about, right? They have hundreds and thousands of leads in their CRMs. So they can go that fast. They can do that. And the other thing too is that, I'm a big believer that you should work every lead to its maximum potential. So you're able to, take advantage of every lead that you have. And I measure it against that. I'm not looking to buy the house in the first 3 minutes. I'm looking to see if I can have someone that's going to be engaged, going to be cooperative, and that's going to be reciprocative in the conversation, which just means that we're going to go back and forth, right? And that's what I'm measuring on. If I don't get any of those 3, I'm going to end the sale. I don't have a problem ending the sale. And I'll let them know too, like, look, this sounds like something you're not ready to do. Hey, unfortunately, you're not going to answer any questions. I got other people I need to call. So if you're not ready to ask any questions, then guess what? I save a bunch of time. I save a bunch of mental energy, and I save a lot of, trying to, have baseless conversations at the end of the day. Because, unless you're going to overpay for properties, who cares? But that's where I'm measuring it. And this is, again, mastering the start of the call is very important. So that way, because this is where you can determine how the rest of the call is going to go. If you start with someone that's really wishy-washy and they start using words like, I'm not in a hurry, maybe, I think I'll sell, we'll see. And then you force the call. Do you really think that you're going to buy the property? Jason, I'll ask you, how many properties have you bought when you felt that the call was forced, or maybe that you didn't identify if it was a prospect first?
Man, none. I've even had 2 go to the closing. I had 2 or 3 go to the closing table like that, and the buyer didn't show up.
Mm-hmm.
The seller didn't show up. I've had that happen.
Correct. So the second rule, so write this down. So this is very important, and it goes with this. When you are calling sellers and you're trying to negotiate deals, you got to ask yourself this question: did the seller buy my solution, or did they surrender to the solution because you were being so aggressive and you went to convincing mode? We don't want the sellers to surrender to our solution. We want them to buy our solution, right? Because of things like what Jason just said. Look, like, we work really hard. Like, this is not like life and death stuff, but you make a couple of thousand calls and you try to convince all of them, or you try to roughneck it, or you try to like you're gonna get discouraged and you're gonna want to quit. Believe me, I've seen it 1,000%, 1,000 times over. I've seen it. So you got to understand, like, qualify these people, put them through this process of of understanding whether this is a prospect or a suspect, and measure them against, are they engaged with me? Are they being cooperative? Does the conversation feel reciprocated, right? Like, measure them against that. Go ahead, Justin.
So my question is, have you ever spoke with a seller who genuinely didn't have an asking price and didn't know, like, I don't know what it's worth, I don't know what I want? And if so, like, what do you do in this situation?
All the time. All the time we speak with sellers like that, right? Now, is this happening in the beginning, or is this happening once you get it past, uncovering why they're looking to sell, and you understand that they're actually like they want to sell. They want your solution.
Yeah, they're genuine. They just don't know.
Got it. Yeah, a lot of times you can box them in. So what I've done before in the past, like, because listen, I'm going to tell you something from experience. Everybody knows. Everyone knows a number, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. Now they might not know exactly what the property could be worth or what exactly what they want, but they have an idea. Always remember this. So if you guys watch Do Deals with Me live, there was a few that I boxed in, remember, that told me, like, they're like, you know what, I don't know, you tell me. And so I went really high on one of them. I said, let me guess, you're trying to get like 200,000 for the property. Oh no, my property's not, I don't think it'll be worth that. Right. And I'm like, well, how do you know that? Like, if you don't know what you want. They're like, well, I don't know yet what I want, but I don't think it'll be worth that. Okay. Well, let me guess. What if I was to be less than 100,000? No, I wouldn't be able to sell that. Okay. So now I know you don't think the property, you would get 200,000 for it. I know you don't want to be at 100,000. Where would you feel comfortable in between, so we can, get an idea whether we can pay that or not? So I anchor them really high first, because that's a good feel number. And then I hit them low second, because now they're going to have that reaction like, absolutely not. Right. So if they're saying no to either one, that, you know what I mean? Now we're going to find out, they're going to have an idea where they want to land. Right. If absolutely they don't know what they want, well, I'd automatically default to asking them, do they have a mortgage on the property? I'm going to start there. So let me ask you this, because you don't know what you want. I'm assuming there's still a mortgage on the property. Yeah, I owe about 100,000. Okay, got it. So we know we need to pay that. So I default to that, and then I try to figure out what is it that they need to pay off, and what's that number that they expect to walk away with. And that usually gives me an idea where they're at. And then the last resort is just to try, because here's the thing, right? Like, if they don't know what they want and you make them an offer, how do they know how to accept the offer? Tell me that, Justin.
They don't. Right? They really don't.
Exactly. So either they're lying, or they don't know an exact number. They have an idea of what they would want to walk away with. It's our job to make them think. This is the problem that I see with a lot of when we're calling, right? And I'm not saying you do this specifically. It's we don't help the sellers think critically about their situation. And I'll make a seller think, like, you know what? I'll make them think, and I'll say, okay, Vandy, see ya. You got to help them, bro. You got to help these sellers to make them think about their situation, even if they don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Even if they don't like it, that's the reality of it, right? And that's kind of how you can structure it, and how you can anchor them and make them think, and like, okay, well, no, I'm not going to get 200,000. Heck no, 100,000 won't even, it barely would pay my mortgage. Okay, so we know. All right, so we know we have the mortgage at 100,000. What else do you got to pay? You think out of this house? Well, I got a car that I got to pay for 20,000. Okay, so we're on 20. What were you hoping to walk away with above the 120? Because you don't want 200,000 for it, but now we got 120 debt, and so you kind of start to close that window and make them think. You know what I mean?
Is there ever a situation where you actually tell them what the value of the property is, ARV, if they ask you, like, well, can you help me out a little bit? How much is it worth when it's fixed up? Do you ever tell them that, or no?
Yes, but make sure you position it correctly. So what that means is that you don't just say, look, your property's worth $300,000. Because they're going to be like, in current condition? So you don't want to create that scenario, because look, sellers will run with whatever that you say. So you have to position that. You have to say, look, what I'm looking at, if you were to do XYZ, if you were to replace it, if you were to do all the work, spend the time, list the property, put it on the market, potentially you're going to be getting somewhere around 300,000 if you have the time to list it. And you're going to pay buyer's commission, and you're going to pay closing costs. And guess what? You might even get asked to probably redo some of the work you did. Are those things a lie? They're not, right? Like, that can happen. So yes, I've done it, but I position it in a way where, like, you have to get there. It's not worth in the condition that it's in right now. That help?
Yeah, that helps. Thanks.
Yeah, of course. Awesome. Any takeaways or any questions or any eye-opening things on there on what we talked about?
Bro, I just need to know where I can get the recording at.
laughing but
cost you
serious.
10K. It's gonna cost you 10K, Jason. No, I'm just kidding. When you register, there's Mufasa. What are you laughing at, bro? You already paid your 10K. I'm just joking, guys. I'm just joking. When you signed up, in that link where you signed up, all the recordings are in that platform. So I owe you. I gotta upload the one from last week and this week, and you go back. There's like I think over 11 recordings already. So yeah, all free. Anyone else?
I did have one question, Max. I actually asked you this question Saturday, but I didn't get clarity on it. So not for a VA, but for someone, if you're cold calling yourself, you personally, not a VA,
Sure.
do you feel like it's okay, or are you not a very good idea if you open up with an intro, tell them who you are, why you call, and then once they say that they're interested in selling, transition into questioning game?
Yes, but make sure that you are telling them that. You know what I'm saying? So, and the way you do that is you position it by saying, "Hey, Derek, you know what? Some of the questions that you're asking me, typically what I like to do is that's like for another call, right? That's like for another call where we spend like, anywhere between, 5-10 minutes more, or even 15 minutes. I can answer a lot of those questions if you have some time available. We can get through that and potentially qualify the property for an offer today."
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So you can't make those cold calls and then just because you're having a good conversation with someone that you think that they're going to automatically agree to talk to you another 10, 15 minutes. You have to be aware of that. You have to be careful because if you're going to go into that, then go into it with knowing that they're about it, right? Like they're open to having that longer conversation.
I guess what I'm asking, like if you open up, say, like if you said, "Hello, Max. Hey, Max, my name is Derek. Yeah, I was calling you about your property on 123 Main Street. Want to know, I
Mm-hmm.
work with a group of home buyers looking to purchase some properties in that area. Want to know if you had any interest in selling that one." And you say yes, and then I say, "Okay, great, not a problem. I just need to ask you a few questions to see if we can qualify the property for an offer. Is that okay?" And if they say
Not yet. Not
no,
yet.
okay,
If they say in that example with Andrew, what did I tell him? Oh, you are? Right? I want to know really what's got you interested in selling. I'm okay asking that, right?
okay,
Because that's also gonna that I want to put at least one or two filters before I go into something like that. I want to make sure that I put another extra filter because just because they say yes, I mean, all of us on this call, does that mean yes? It doesn't, right? Or
no,
just because they say they are interested, okay, got it. Well, what has you? How come you're interested? What's going on? We want to put just one or two more filters.
got it. Okay, makes sense.
Yep. All right. And you can come up with them whatever you feel comfortable with. I typically like for them to talk just a little bit more on what's going on by asking that, like, okay, what's got you? I mean, obviously, this is my first call. I've never talked to you before, so you are interested. What's going on that it has you interested, right? Let them elaborate just a little bit more on it. So
Okay, before going into questioning game.
before going into questioning games, yep,
Got it.
exactly.
Okay.
Cool. Jason, go ahead.
Hey, sorry if I'm asking too many questions. But I do have a question. Like when I'm using the dialer that I'm using, by the time I hear that somebody's on the phone and I get that tone, it's because they've said hello. So I don't know who I'm talking to at that point. How do you just kind of pick up from there when you're like cold calling, especially like if you're calling expired listings, which is something I just started doing?
Hold on. Let me understand this. So your dialer beeps and you don't see the information, or what does your dialer do? I'm sorry. Explain that one more time, Jason.
So my dialer, it when you hear the tone to notify you that somebody's on the line, it's because somehow the technology has detected they answered. So somebody has said hello, and it's just patching the call straight through. So you don't know if it's a man, if it's a woman, if they said thank you for calling such and such elementary. You have no idea. Even though the property information is popping up, you may or you may not have the right person.
So rule number one: always act like you have the right person. I'd rather be wrong than trying to figure out if I'm right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you always. So I'm gonna. Because if that's the case, I mean, or get another dialer, But for real though, is I'd rather be wrong and have them correct me than trying to figure out if this is the right person. Because again, we only have few seconds to make an impression, right? And so, but you do get the information in front of you though after the call connects.
Yeah, so I get the information. The information pops up almost immediately, but someone has already spoken. So what the dialer is listening for is for somebody to say
Got it.
something. So once
Got
they've
it. Got
said
it. So
something, yeah.
Once they've already said hello and the call connects, well, just run with it. If you see Max's name pop up, just say hello, Max. Run with it. I would not. I would rather be corrected than trying to figure out if I'm talking to the right person, because it's going to take me out of my process.
Got it.
Yep, that's what I would do. Go ahead, Andrew.
Well, I have a question that's going back to going into questioning games, right? So if I have like a seller who's like still like has their guard up, and the first question I ask them is, "Oh, have they considered selling?" They say, "Yeah," and I ask them why. Like, if they still have their guard up and saying, "Oh, that's personal," is it okay to like ask another question to like maybe bring their guard down and then later on ask, "Oh, why have you considered selling?" Because I've noticed when I get a lot of when I cold call. Oh, my bad. When I cold call and I ask that like off the jump, they say, "Oh, that's personal," and I was like, "Oh," and then I have to ask more questions, then come back to that question to find their motivation.
Do you know why? Do you know why that is?
Yeah,
because the word why is an accusation audit, excuse me. Right?
Yeah.
So think about this. Right? Why you leave the lights on? Why are you leaving the door open? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Right? So it's ingrained in us. It's an accusation audit. So when you're saying what, when you're using why are you considering selling? It's almost an accusation. So you have to change it to what has you considering selling the property. Change it to what has you considering selling the property.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, Andrew, what has you considering selling the property? Different tonality, right? Then, hey, Andrew, why are you selling this? And I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that you're using that tonality. I'm saying that it's an accusation audit when you use the word why. You can use the word why to clarify what the prospect is telling you, or to get clarification. But in a question like that, it comes off too strong. So you need to change it to, hey, Andrew, what has you considering selling it? You don't mind me asking.
Okay, yeah, I see where you're going. Yeah, I just got to change that first word.
Yeah. And the other thing too is that you may want to add something in the fact that, so in what I do in the questioning games, I always like to ask, hey, out of curiosity, just ballpark, how long have you owned the property? Because I'm going to attach I'm going to insert a quick, sneaky motivational question, right? So if I talk to you, Andrew, and I ask you, hey, Andrew, just out of curiosity, ballpark, make up any day, okay? Any year, Andrew. Just out of curiosity, ballpark, how long have you owned the property?
6 years.
6 years. Wow. Okay. Man, you haven't owned it that long. Just out of curiosity, what has you considering selling it so quick?
Okay. Yeah, I see what you did. You asked a question that leads. Yeah. Okay. I get it now. I get it.
Yeah. You told me, right? And listen, if you would have said 20 years, I would have said, dang, congratulations, Andrew. You've owned this thing for a long time. Right now, I'm giving you a stroke. But in this case, I'm a little more curious because you said 6 years, and typically I don't talk to a lot of people. I make it seem like, you're selling it too quick. I just want to know, like, just what's going on there. That's it.
Yeah, because
absolutely right.
When I follow the script, it said the first question that says combo starter questions. It says, "What has you considering selling?" So I would ask,
yeah, but that's because you have that's on the cold call script, but on the other script, which is the closure script, has the questioning games, I believe. And there's a few. I think if you have the newer cold call script, there's a few questions on the questioning game. But remember, you can't put everything on the script, so make sure you're making these modifications for you. Okay.
Yeah, I would use an easier question and then which lead them to answer easy question, which would bring their guard down for them to answer like harder
There you
questions
go.
like that.
So Jim's showing it to you right there. The other thing too is what I like to ask as soon as I get, as soon as you tell me, hey, it's only been 6 years, man, 6 years. What has you considering selling it that long? Wow. Oh, because XYZ, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then, what have you done recently to try to sell this? Right. So now I want to know how long, what's going on, not diving too deep. It's just a quick, sneaky motivation question. And then I want to know what they actually been doing to try to sell this. If they say nothing, that's fine. And I just say, okay, got it. So we're like the first people that you've spoken with. And I love asking that question because if they say yes, guess what I'm going to say next? Oh, great. What does that tell you about us that we actually called you? I'm going to set myself apart. And I've done this. I do this on the lives a lot, right? Because they say, oh, we've been filling out forms. No one's ever called us. And I say, oh, great. What does that tell you about our company that I actually gave you a call? Well, it sounds to me like you guys are serious about your business. Exactly. And that's what every seller before you says as well. Now we set ourselves apart. Yep. All right. Jalen, go ahead.
Hey, so I wanted to know essentially like when you're doing this not with the seller but like with like let's say a realtor, like a real estate agent, is it like a different process or do you know, because I've never seen you ever talk to like, I don't think I've seen you ever talk to like an agent and like go through like the whole process. So is it like the same questioning almost but just like asking the agent? No.
It's not, because you're not dealing with the seller. You're not dealing with the emotional attachment. You're dealing with the third party. However, and for those of you guys that do direct to agent, you guys can chime in here. I know Kimmy, you do some of that, I believe. Ilium as well. The actual in Manuel too. Manuel's really good at this actually. So Manuel, if you want to chime in here, the strategies still work. You just have to tailor some of this stuff geared towards the agent. You got to find out what's their pain point that what they're dealing with the seller. So the strategies in here, some of them, like you just have to tailor them, but a lot of this stuff is geared more towards the seller because you're talking to the person that's emotionally attached to the property, right? And in the case of an agent, this is a third party that's not involved, but they do have their own pain points, and you got to discover that. You got to uncover what those pain points are, right? So you ask the same questions. Go ahead, Kimmy.
Yeah, I was just going to say, essentially, you need to treat, if you're direct to agent, you have to treat the agent like they're the expert on their client, on the seller. It's a very delicate balance because you do have to stroke their ego a little bit, but you also want to level with them and make sure that they know that you do serious business. So the questions that you ask need to be phrased in such a way that you're creating a win-win-win. So it's a win for the agent, a win for their client, and a win for you. It's just like when you're presenting an opportunity for a private money lender, you're not asking them for money. You're presenting them with an opportunity to create generational wealth and invest in something that's better than any bank can give them. And when you do that, if you have somebody that pushes back against, say, being like a lien holder, right? They don't want to be in second position. What I like to say is, well, I'm in third position. Like I don't get my money until the hard money lender gets their money and the private money lender gets their money, and then I'm last in line. So I totally understand that's very valid. And then I stop talking. When you're talking to an agent, it's the same kind of way. You're gonna use inflection that matches their tonality and cadence, and you're gonna make sure that when you're talking to them, you're presenting it as an opportunity to them, but not so much that you're submissive. You're not taking a submissive stance. It's all about leverage and posture. And if your posture is professional and you're poised and you're prepared, whether that means you got to meditate for 10 minutes before you call an agent, or you got to do some more research on it before you get on the phone, or whatever you need to do, just always remember that they got to hear how they're going to win and how their client is going to win, because they represent their client's best interest.
Absolutely. One more thing to add to that. Thank you, Kimmy. That was awesome. And I'm going to have Emmanuel chime in here. Remember this, no matter what, it's still not about the property, right? So it's the same concept, the same fundamentals work. You're just having now deal with the third party in this case. You're now B2B instead of B2C, right? So, Manuel, did you want to chime in a little bit? Someone says they're ready to give you 250,000, Kimmy.
Thank you. I'm looking for private money right now, so.
Buy her course, $200.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Kimmy's affiliate link so I could like, get some sales money for hustling out her course.
Oh man.
No, with the agent, you got to understand what you already have in front of you. You already know they want to sell, and you already know the price, right? As opposed to going direct to seller where you don't know all that yet, and you're working the front end, trying to get to that back end. This way, you already know the back end, so now you're working the front end. And I fill out the realtor's personality from the beginning, because then that tells me exactly how to navigate the call, what my tone should be. Because there's some realtors where I could be straight up with them, and I just tell them, I was like, I'm not here to bullshit you, right? I just tell them straight up. If I feel that personality, I tell them, I was like, I'm not like everybody else. I'm not here to bullshit you. If you don't want to talk, we don't have to talk. But you got something that's on the market over 90 days, and so something's going on. If you don't, if I'm not for you, cool, I'll move on. Right? I could do that. Whereas as direct to seller, I'm not trying to do that out the gate and be like, yo, you want to sell your house? No? Okay. And then move on. Now I'm gonna ask a little bit more questions, right? And kind of fill them out. And then with the agent, I make sure that they're aware that I'm not against you. I'm not trying to buy the property. I'm trying to help you, and I'm on your team. What can we do? And I make sure, like, subconsciously, I have a notebook that I keep on my other desk, is where if I'm talking to an agent and they're cooperative, I'm writing down on a notebook "we" over and over and over to get it in my head to keep saying "we," so they know that it's not me, it's not my company, or I'm not trying to buy it. It's we. We're on a team. What can we do to figure that out?
I love it. No, thank you for that, Manu. I think that's great. So a few things, Jalen, right? You heard it's still not about the property, right? It's still uncovering whether, this agent is a prospect or a suspect in a way, right? Not all, you're not going to work with all agents. They're not going to want you to, they're not going to work with with your solution. And you have to figure that out by asking the right questions and trying to find out really what is going on that's their pain point by asking the right questions and positioning yourself as somebody that could potentially solve that at the end of the day.
Yes, sir. I truly appreciate everybody's answer. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. You're welcome. Cool. I'll take one or two more questions and then we'll wrap the call up. Anyone else? If there's not, we'll wrap the call up now.
Max, I have a question.
All right, Kimmy and Justin. All
Kim,
right,
you go
That's
first.
crazy because
Yeah.
my husband's name is Justin, so it's crazy.
But that's JJ though. That's JJ though.
Oh, okay. I'll make it super quick.
Go ahead.
I'll make mine super quick. So mine, I have a green seller, which I've been talking to Yasser about it, and he's like, dude, that scares me, right? Because he's got some real estate accoutrements. So he definitely is educated. He's in the tech industry part of real estate.
Sure.
And essentially he was like, he told me, I'm collecting cash offers. And on the call, I'm like, why? It sounds like you're not ready to sell. Oh, no, I got to move, whatever. And so I had scheduled a follow-up call for today with him. Yep. 10 a.m. Central Time, called him right at 10 a.m. First call didn't connect. Second call went right to voicemail. So I left a message like, I think I probably caught you at a bad time. Give me a call back whenever. And then I texted him and I said, if you were me calling you back, when would you call? This time or this time? And I haven't heard anything. It's been the whole day. So my question is, when I get him back on the phone, I already know kind of which way I'm going to take it. And it's very simple. I'm reading the room. I'm pulling back. And he gave me a ton of information. I kept him on the phone for 20 minutes when he really didn't want to be on the phone. And there was a point in the call, my first call, when he said, you didn't ask, but, and he started to tell me all this stuff, right? And I'm just like, right, taking notes. My question is on that call when I get him on the
You know
phone
why he
again.
did that? He did that because he's analytical and he wants you to know all the information.
Very, very. Well, he wants me to know all except what he owes on his mortgage, which I can see in PropStream
Of
or at least
course.
have a good idea, right? So my
Yep.
question is, how would you approach it? Because what I was talking to Yasser about is essentially not being more aggressive, but issuing not an ultimatum and instead being a little bit more pulled back and yet letting him know that I'm serious. So my question to you is, how do you balance being in the position of the posture of seriousness, but you're pulling
Mm-hmm.
back?
Yeah. So that's always a tough line to navigate. By the way, for those of you that don't understand personality traits, green seller is just somebody that's very analytical. They call them calculators, which I can tell you probably 95% or more of the people that you speak with are not going to be in that personality trait. It's very rare that you'll get someone. Usually that's like your engineers and accountants and you know those type of people. However, I have bought properties from engineers. So
So
yeah, I
this guy
mean, you
was
know,
he was a CTO of a real estate for a tech company.
okay,
So
got
that's
it.
so I was like, I'm on the call and I think you can hear me go, oh damn, like, like because I just
I
couldn't
mean,
stop myself.
it's yeah, and you know, it's a little bit different vibe, right? Because it's all about the information, which is hard to do because we're trying to get it to an emotional, you know, we're trying to transition into an emotional conversation so we can grab what we need so they can justify it logically based on, you know, what we're offering. But when you have an analytical person, it's tough to do that, especially when they don't have the data in front of them. And so the way to really understand, like, does he have enough data from you to really, you know, and it doesn't sound like it from what you mentioned, like you've had some very vague conversations with him. The fact that he said he's collecting cash offers makes sense. I mean, that's typically, you know, again, what they could do. And I don't know if you asked him this, but one of the questions that I like to ask when someone says they're collecting cash offers, I always bring it back to what else is important in the transaction, right? And
Yeah,
so
he did.
so for me,
He's
yeah.
like,
So for me, it's all,
I don't
huh?
need the
Go ahead.
money. He's like, I don't need the money. I'm
Correct.
like, then why are you
Well,
collecting
there you
cash
go.
off?
See, right? So then, Kimmy, let's pretend that you got 100 cash offers, and they're all within. You know, they're all identical. And you know what I'm going to ask next, right? Is what else do you
Are
need
they?
to see or hear to make you feel comfortable,
Yeah.
right? What because it's not about the money. So then tell me what else do you need to see or hear to make you feel comfortable selling the property? Let's get to the chase. Because you know, and that's what we want to find out. And potentially we're gonna find out really what's happening, right? What is it that he wants, you know, from a company? And he might just say, hey, I just want to know you're legit. Okay, perfect. What is it that would make you feel comfortable for that would tell you I'm legit? A website, proof of funds, you know, some type of testimonial or something, right? We don't know. But until we can put them to that place, and you can, so that's kind of being still in the game, but then pulling back. Like, look, because I don't want to get into bidding wars, right?
Yeah.
I don't get into, and I tell them too, like, look, I get it. Ultimately, it's your property. You can do what you want, but let's pretend that all offers came in the same. They're all identical. What else do you need to see or hear to make you feel comfortable? Because I don't really want to get to a bidding war, and I just want to make sure that I'm able to deliver on those exact things that you're looking for.
Okay.
So now we put the ball in his court to identify that. Because if you, especially if he's already said like, hey, it's not about the money. You know what I mean? He doesn't care about the money, so he must care about something else, and that's what you need to find out.
Yeah, he hasn't given me enough, and I already have kind of a roadmap, but this helps a lot. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and then provide data. You know what I mean? Email him some stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, email him some stuff, and you know, provide him with some stuff that he will relate to. So he does, so because that's how you're going to build that trust is the data.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I got 6 pages of notes here from my first call with him. He gave me a ton of info, but for some reason he pulled way back when I said, yeah, I'd love to take this back to my team and see if we could get you at least an LOI.
Sure.
But in order to do that, can we agree that I need some more information about what's still owed on the property? and he was quiet. And then I steered the conversation back to his motivation, got him going down that path. And then I asked again, you know, this can be a ballpark, but about what is still owed on the property. He goes, I'm not going to tell you that. Like, okay, well, I don't have enough information to write you an offer today.
So when I make you the offer and it comes below the mortgage, what's going to happen?
Yeah. I said, what happens if you don't sell or you don't get the price that you want? And
No,
he's
no,
like,
but what I'm saying is that's a different question though, is you could ask that. Like, look, the reason why I'm asking that is because I don't want to, the reason I just want to get an idea ballpark of what you still on the property, because I would hate to make you an offer that comes below that mortgage point. And so I don't want to look like I don't know what I'm doing. So I just want to get an idea of ballpark what it was that you owed on it, right? And so that's always a good way. And most people, I'm not saying everyone, most people will be open to say, okay, well, I owe about 200,000, but that's irrelevant, right? Like they'll still give it to you and then add that part at the end. But I would probably go back and figure out what is more important to him. You know, if it's not about the money, then there's something else that it's missing. Even though you said you took like 6 pages of note, which is a lot. Like,
yeah,
man.
it's crazy. Yeah, I take
But
6
but
pages
you
of notes
but
all the time, but
no, of course, I totally could see that. You're like Brooke, who's on the live calls with me. She takes 6 pages of notes too.
yeah.
But it's good to go back, and even though you got all that information, you got to get the information that's important to find out what's going to help
Yeah, I
or
appreciate that
what's going to
question
make them
about
sell.
what else do you need to hear to make you comfortable? That is going to be key. And it's the piece that I think I was missing in all the other notes that I have, how I need to direct the conversation. Because I built enough rapport that he was wanting to give me information that I didn't ask for. So I just took it all in and kept typing and let him talk. But in this case, I'm missing that important piece because he is not open to creative. And I basically said, you know, I understand that you're getting a lot of cash offers, and I really hope some of those are in writing because if you're going to get a serious offer for somebody, they need to put their money where their mouth is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he was like, "Oh, yeah, some of them are in writing." I said, "Okay, then those some might be, you know, legit. I'm a serious buyer, and I'm interested in this property, and I still don't have enough information to give you an offer. If you were me calling you back, when would you do that?" And we set up the follow up, and then he ghosted. So anyway, thank you. I've got notes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if he's ghosting, if he didn't call you on the, oh, sorry, if he doesn't pick up again, let me know, and I got something that you can send him to.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey, just
Awesome,
real
everyone.
quick,
Hopefully,
Max,
go ahead,
I was
Derek.
gonna say,
Go ahead.
if anybody's interested in the personality types, I'll just put a link in the chat. It's from the book Surrounded by Idiots, and they tell you about all the different
Yep.
personality types.
That's a really great book, by the way, for you guys that aren't familiar with personality types. Surrounded by Idiots is a really, really great book that's going to help you. There's the phase of understanding personality types, and then the second level is understanding learning types as well too, because there's different we're all different. We learn differently. The biggest, I think, the highest percentage of learners are visual. And then you have auditory learners, and then you have kinesthetic, which means that they got to have something like in front of them, right? Like touch, feel, and see. But I'm an auditory learner. Maybe that's a great thing to find out what you are. But I know majority of the population is visual learners. But then you have a small percentage that's kinesthetic. But that's next level stuff, because when you're talking to sellers and you understand personality type and you understand learning type, now you can use words, right? If you talk to Max and you know Max is an auditory learner, you're going to use words like sounds like, what I'm hearing. You're going to use those type of words that relate to me, and I'm like, hey, like, I like what you're saying. Keep talking to me. Yeah, but thank you for sharing that, Derek. I really appreciate that. Cool. So I'll have this recording for all you new that guys that and gals that came on. I really appreciate you. Hopefully this was valuable for you guys. We do this every Tuesday, so hopefully we'll see you next Tuesday. The recordings are in the same program that you registered in. You can go back and find the recordings there. I am before I get off really quick, I am going to, they're not on here anymore, but Charlie and Vandy are actually working with me one-on-one. So I only have one more spot left. So if you are interested in something like that, I don't typically like to do that, but I know a lot of you need some help. So if you are interested, let me know. Vandy's already getting some good results. And then so is Charlie. I'm going to start in February. but I'm only working with 3 people. But I've actually worked with Kimmy's team and a few and a few other was so. Anthony's also, or Tony. What's up, Tony and Jim? They worked with me as well too before. But if you are interested, let me know. But I really appreciate everyone for being on. Next Tuesday we'll have some other stuff. Make sure that you're bringing your questions, and make sure that you are. If you have a call you want us to review in front of everyone, bring it. We'll review it and we'll check it out. But go back and listen to the recordings. It's there for you guys. This was a great session. I really appreciate it. And everyone have a good night and go kill it and go crush it the rest of the week. All right. Later.
All right, if you made it this far and you got a lot of value out of that content that you just saw, make sure that you subscribe to my channel, make sure you like the video, and share this with one person. By the way, the link to have access to those calls, to those live calls, is in the description, like I said in the beginning. Also, there's many other resources that I put links for in the description of this video, but I really appreciate you for watching and staying on to the end. Like I said, make sure you subscribe, make sure that you like, and make sure you share this video with one person. I'll see you all on the next The Sales Hours training.